Another alley-oop pass to McCall! That's what we've been waiting for. Unbelievable timing on that. And it's the Tigers straight away. Game. Alley-oop! What a start!
Welcome to the ultimate Supercoach and Fantasy Sports Show. You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Insight NBL Show, our weekly review. As always, we are brought here today by the Standard Squeeze, Ryan from Astute Newstead, and Bonus Bet. I'm the Supercoach Matrix, and I'm here with Braino. Braino, how was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was good, mate. I've been, I don't know whether, can we say balls deep on this episode? I've been balls deep into BBL Supercoach content, Matty. It's been rough. It's been a tough first round, but no, mate, I'm here to fill in for Hammer tonight. Unfortunately, he's got better things to do, save the world and stuff like that. So here to chat some NBL with you, mate. Feels like old times.
Yeah, it does feel pretty good. I do have that echo that we spoke about a little bit earlier, but I'm going to see what I can work out. See if you can mute something in the background. But on today's show, I'm going to hit you with the breaking news. We're going to cover our teams. We're going to go through the Squeeze of the Week winners, review the games from a Supercoach perspective, go through our community team, touch on some trades, thoughts, and answer all your questions along the way. Let's go to some breaking news here by Bonus Bank.
It's time for some news from around the league.
Will Cummings is gone. Import replacement possible. Look, on the NBL site today, it was like how Phoenix win impacts the import search, because they were pretty good without him. Adelaide is struggling, and DJ is $4,000 poorer. Hawks beat Perth. Tatum, is he the difference maker? Was almost that bad? Is probably a good, I suppose. I've got.
Are you reading comments at the same time? Do you?
Yeah, I was reading the comments at the same time. Absolute carnage in the BBL.
Can you let us know in the comments if you can hear an echo? If you can hear an echo or if the audio's all good. Global said it's all good, but it might just be tricky for you to work through. I'm not quite sure why it's happening, but we'll work it out as we go.
I'll type some stuff into our little chat there. Sorry, guys, some technical difficulties. But
yeah, audio's all good.
Josh
apparently.
Roberts,
it's just you.
Fool's gold. And will Milton Doyle be back this week? Tassie, Cairns, and Southeast Melbourne on the double-double. I think that this really impacts trade planning a lot.
I think with scheduling, I guess, like when you're looking at the teams on the double, I think we've been maybe blessed the last 2 or 3 weeks where we've had some pretty obvious options, but now it's starting to become a little bit tougher. So, and also, can I whinge a little bit about Taj McCall and not picking him? Am I the only person in NBL Supercoach that doesn't have Taj McCall? It's ruining my life. Not good.
I think 90% of the top 1% have Taj McCall, and you're probably up there in the top 1%, or at least the top 2%, and yeah, you're one of the few.
Yeah, it hurts me. I mean, I'm doing okay. I think I'm 350th or something, or 383rd I am. So I've dropped a little bit, but I was 188th 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I had a couple of really nice rounds. So yeah, a little bit of a drop off, but it is what it is. You know, I'll push on, and I'm not the expert you are, so more pressure on you to perform than me, mate.
Thanks. I think it's the fact that you don't have any pressure at the moment, that you can just stop and enjoy it, and you don't overthink things at the moment. It's pretty enjoyable. That's how I feel about BBL at the moment.
Yeah. Oh fuck, BBL! Don't even start me on BBL, mate. I might jump ship and come over to NBL and just hang out with you guys. It's first round's been fucking carnage. It's been absolutely insane, but yeah, it's all right. We'll work through it,
mate. I do feel pretty good about my team at the moment. Got 437, even starting Josh Roberts. My captain Miller, I finished 540th for the round and it bumped me up to 800. Of course, have McCall. Brought in Valentine, which wasn't really the right play, but yeah, look, was better than some of the other plays out there. Started Wardenberg. Yeah, it worked out all right. Probably if I started a Lamb or a Bobby Clintman or something like that, I'll be able to move those guys in and around. But Josh Roberts, he scored 13. You mentioned you saw that he started for about 8 minutes. Do you think that he's a drop now with a break even of 36?
I mean, if we see the same with how they're using him, of course he's a drop. Like, they're using him to take the sting out of the game at the start. Would he play the first 8 minutes and then disappeared off the face of the earth? So, I don't know. I don't know whether I love it. Luckily, I didn't go there. I faded him. And Wardenberg was okay. You know, I think maybe using him off the bench might be a better option. So I don't mind his role. Even if Wardenberg's coming off the bench, I might hold him for now. He got 51. Can't really complain about a 51. But I think if you went with Roberts, maybe you hold him for one more week just to see what it looks like. But I mean, is he really going to lose bulk cash with a 36 break even?
Yeah, look, if he gets 13 again, he's going to lose a little bit at least, and then he's going to be 140k that you have to get out rather than 150k. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, you can bail out to a Ben Air or something like that if you got Jules. Maybe that's the play. What's Ben Air priced at? Like 110 or something?
Yep. Yeah, he's good sort of money. Yep.
Ben Air's one of the ones that I was looking at as a bit of a downgrade option this week. He's played 35 or 36 minutes last week. That was wild.
Yeah, well, now that Cummings is gone, like Ben Air, it could be Ben Air season even.
Cool, love that. And you mentioned Will Cummings is gone. What was the issue there? He just didn't want to get involved in the back end shit that they wanted him doing, so they pissed him off?
They said he basically didn't meet team, I suppose, expectations and stuff in the background. Whether he was just I don't know whether he was like an ordinary locker room bloke, whether he was just somebody that was late to training and stuff. I honestly can't comment on that. But the fact that he's gone should mean a bump to like a Gaz Brown and probably, Ben Air. Maybe I have to start bringing the soundbite back.
I was actually going to say, it's been a while since we played the soundbite. It's right here, isn't it? Love that. It's back. It's Ben Air season. Write it.
Nah, I love it too. Look, I'm just going to mention Hammer's team. He scored 419. Captain Miller started Josh Roberts. Had that double-headed snack in Miller and McCall, and he had Magnay as well, which definitely helped with the way that Marcus Lee went. And look, pretty good.
Killing it as always. Hammer leading the way. What do you get? 419.
Yeah, 419. Nice. So not quite as good as me, but anyway, he can play second.
Mate, it's hard to live up. It's hard to live up to the Matrix, isn't
it? It is. Mate, do you want to take us into our squeeze of the week?
I can do that. Squeeze of the week, obviously brought to us by the Standard Squeeze. Use the code INSIGHT15, standardsqueeze.com to get yourself all your Standard Squeeze stuff. We've got our 4-in-1s here on screen. We've got our little combo pack things in the background. Gets you a standard pour. Get onto the standardsqueeze.com. Use the code. Now, Kylie from Team Swish wins the Standard Squeeze of the week with the highest score with a 499. That is a big score. I've seen a couple of maybe 500s floating around, but Kylie gets the chocolates this time around. 379th overall, and captaining McCall as we probably expect, right? This week, you'd expect someone that wins the week to be captaining McCall with his 100. But started Hogue, and Adams seems to be the difference. So congrats to Kylie. Well done, Kylie from Team Swish. Hit us up in our inbox on X or Facebook or Instagram or wherever it is you follow us, and send your address over and we'll get the squeeze pack sent out to you. Congratulations. Good enough for third overall in the comp, Matty. Massive.
Yeah, good for the week. And we're talking about our overall. Dave from Do It for Jack is still first overall, which obviously makes him first in our group. So
can't do better than that, can you? Good on him. And it's an awesome thing that you've done on the last couple of pods as well, raising money for for the charity there. So good on Dave as well. He's really massive in the Supercoach community, and he posts some really good stuff on X and on Twitter and all that. So full credit to him. He's having an awesome season. Hopefully he can hold on.
Mate, can I just mention Global in the chat? He said he's still got air from the start. Whew.
Is that one of those guys? Global, are you one of those guys that just hasn't touched your team in about 8 weeks? Maybe just kept him on the bench.
Global's on every episode. Ben Air probably hasn't been bad enough at times to warrant trading him out. But I tell you what,
I thought you were Ben Air's biggest fan. Maybe Global is.
Yeah, Global's a guy that's walking around the streets of Sydney with the only Ben Air jersey they have.
Surely there's someone else that's got a... Maybe I'll buy a Ben Air jersey just for the rest of the season. Who knows?
Actually, he looks a bit like Matt Morello, Ben Air. But anyway...
Has he got no hair?
He's
Ben
got
no
the
hair.
receding hairline incoming.
Would you call it the receding airline?
I like it. Stop it.
Enough of my bad jokes, mate. Let's move on.
Let's head into the game reviews.
Let's review the week just gone. It's time for game talk.
Mate, and that, of course, is brought to us by Ryan at Astute Newstead. Again, slide into our DMs or contact him directly. We can put you in touch with him. He'll give you an obligation-free mortgage quote and can get you in contact with, now I hear, over 50 different lenders, because I know I don't have the effort when I was looking. You're working full-time. You're in a position where you're looking at buying a house. You're obviously spending a lot of time at work if you can afford a house. So let him do the work for you and get you the best interest rate.
Just go home and sleep in your beautiful house and then spend 14 hours at work every day. How good.
Yeah.
Exactly. But interest rates are hurting us at the moment, and he can definitely help out and lower that interest rate and stuff. So, as Matty cracks another tin, very, very fitting. I actually haven't experienced the Matty cracking a tin in my face on a podcast since the NRL, so it feels I'm feeling really nostalgic right now. It's been good.
I don't want to focus too much on the other sports at the moment, but those poor NRL players that flew all the way to Vegas just to watch the Raiders and whoever they played for it to be 3-0. They talked about entertainment a lot in the NRL, and I tell you what, we're going to score more than 3 points when we play in Vegas. I
really hope so. Billy Walters over there and a few other guys, so that'd be good little experience for them.
Graham, Spencer Leniu, Aaron Woods. Yeah.
Jesus, Aaron Woods, fuck me. All right, anybody can go then. Congrats to Aaron Woods.
Shout out his retirement trip. But anyway, we'll head into Cairns versus Sydney. So they had these shot clock issues up there, and they actually played a lot of the game without a shot clock, which was wild because Sydney ended up getting up and they were just passing the ball around, wasting time, doing what we in Toowoomba basketball called the Rod Logan, which is where you just waste as much time as possible. Anyway, they were in the bonus very, very early, and this game went till like probably midnight in daylight times. It was an absolute mess.
Yeah, I saw everybody carrying on Twitter. I'll be honest, I didn't watch this game. I'm a Sydney Kings fan, by the way, and I didn't watch this game. Pretty bad from me, but I'm pretty sure it was the debut for BBL, so you can forgive me for that. I've been watching BBL instead of the NBL. But I had Jalen Adams captain this week, so I was feeling pretty good after game one. Probably not feeling that good after his second game, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, Taj McCall and Paddy Miller. I also have Paddy Miller without having Taj McCall. So they both got 34, led the way in the scoring there, Supercoach wise, and Jalen Adams 34 as well. So I was feeling pretty good. Miller and McCall are usually the two guys I look at in terms of comparison and go, okay, I'm on track this week by not being a McCall owner. And then when you see Wardenberg at 21 and, was it Roberts got 7 in 8 minutes? We spoke about him. That was a bit of a stinker. Yeah. I've got Bobby Clintman and Taron Armstrong still as well. I feel like I've got literally the whole fucking 10 people that take the court at Cairns. And I've got Jonah Bolden, and he actually was... Well, you tell me what happened there. He got 6 Supercoach points. What's going on with Bolden in game 1? Because he turned it on in game 2, but what happened here?
I think Hunter was just better in this game. Hunter played the 21 minutes in there at centre, and DJ Hogue found himself playing some centre minutes as well. I think that it's just matchup based with Jonah Bolden and Jordan Hunter. They're sort of polar opposites out there on the floor, and consider Jonah Bolden somebody like you would a Chris Goulding. He's a bit of a flamethrower, and when things are going his way, he's going to be on, and he's a chance of scoring 40. But when he's off, here he is, and what's that? A chance of scoring 13.
Yeah. Well, we got 6, so
Yeah.
no good for owners there. But he redeemed himself a little bit.
Can I just mention a little bit your Hunter there? Look, I think he's getting the bulk of the rebounds along with DJ Hogue out there. So he's pretty good to be out there. I think with how many free throws Jordan Adams took, if you take away his 12 from 12 free throws, and that was, I suppose, in relation to the fact that the power went out, I think there's some real alarm bells about Jalen Adams, and if you brought him in, I think it's time to get him out this week, even at the loss at 350K. And I know that some guys are going to be in that position.
Yeah, me. I think I'll move him on this week. We'll talk about trades at the end of the show, but I think a little bit of one and done for me with Jalen Adams. Can you talk about Jalen Galloway? Because he was quality.
He's great. And he was great. He was probably the best cheapie of the year so far, maybe outside of Bolden, but especially because they had a pretty good schedule there at the start of the year.
Yeah,
and
I started with him, and he and when he got injured, I traded him out, and I think most people did, but I think a few people took a punt on him last week, and it seemed to work out for him.
And Jalen Galloway, whoever's playing that power forward role for the Sydney Kings seems to just be really producing. I'm not sure if it's their system or whatever, but DJ Hogue's been really good. 17, 7, and 3 in this one, and Galloway playing the same role, 13, 7, and 2. You're going to really like that from your forward. And they played a bit later on, so we're going to have a bit of a chat about those players again in a bit. Jonah Antonio started again, didn't have the impact in this one, even though he just missed out. He could have got those extra 3 points if he took that shot a millisecond earlier. But yeah, Bull Quall's been all right, but yeah, look, you're not looking at too much from this one from anyone outside of Miller and McCall. Miller would have had a ripper score if you took away his 7 turnovers as well. That should be noted.
Yeah, I saw that. That hurts. What is it? Minus 14. Would have given him, 50? So, yeah, kind of hurts. Doesn't really make up the difference, though, with Taj's second game. But, yeah, as a Paddy Miller owner, I'm not upset.
Let's go into Illawarra versus Perth. And this was a major upset. Illawarra taking care of Perth in this one.
Well, you didn't expect Perth to go down by 18 points to Illawarra, did you? No. You think LaMelo Ball made a trip back to feature for the Hawks, but not to be. Bryce Cotton and Doolittle are the two guys I have in my team. Usually I only look at the players I have in my team. I don't put too much stock into the others, but Clark with 43, Harvey 36, Froling 30, all had pretty big games against Perth. I looked at the scores, the box score about at 3/4 time, and Perth were just nowhere near where they needed to be. What happened here? What was the difference in this game?
Honestly, Illawarra and the alarm bells sort of went off last week with how good they played against the Bullets. But I maybe just recency bias from watching the Bullets for the last few years. I just thought the Bullets shat the bed. But maybe the Hawks are actually really good. Like, we're in finals, or at least play-in contention there. Maybe the Hawks are just really good. I think anybody playing that sort of center role, anybody's playing that power forward role for the Hawks really seem to be going really well. Like, you've got Gaz Clark, and he is worth 300K at the moment. You've got Sam Froling playing and cooking along there at nearly 350K. Basically, anybody playing those positions have been really good. I haven't expected that from Harvey. He's early 200s. But one guy I would like to talk about, and I know you love a cheapie, AJ Johnson was 58K last week, and he scored 18. The schedule isn't really good for Illawarra, but it's something you could get around for a bit of cash generation.
I'll tell you what, the photo that they've got in Supercoach for AJ Johnson doesn't do him any justice, does it? Have a go at the hair on the bloke. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, they've got a double next week, but nearly every team have a double, don't they, next week? So we don't really put too much stock in that.
No, there's only 3 next week. It's the week after, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so they've got a double next week. So there's a bit of relevance with him if you're looking for maybe a downgrade option in your guard spot, which is definitely what I'm looking for. Could he realistically be the Taron Armstrong downgrade to AJ Johnson? Maybe we do it early and we just go to a cheapie to fund other positions?
Yeah, well, it could get you 100K, and that 100K, if it can, I know I'm the one person in the world with Denzel Valentine, but if it can get you up to a source from somebody, you could have a crack.
I don't mind it. I'm looking for a downgrade option so I can get in Taj McCall, because I can't go another week without him. I just have to get him in. So I think it'll be Jalen Adams to Taj McCall, I'd say, but I need 50-odd K to fund that. So I think that's probably the logical option. So I'll probably take a punt on that move, but we'll see. You'll probably talk me out of it by the end of the episode, I think.
No, some of the guys in the chat are saying that it was AJ Johnson's season, and it sounds like Tatum's really just unlocked him. He did say he was going to shorten the bench, which he hasn't really happened yet. But yeah, look, AJ Johnson's getting minutes, and that's not something that we saw at all. For somebody that was 115K to drop all the way to 58K under Jackomas, he was getting absolutely nothing. He's getting a little bit now.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think he's not a bad play. Any of these Perth guys relevant?
Yeah, Pinder come back a little bit, and those who are holding Saar, I don't think you can jump on Saar, but those who are holding Saar and even holding Pinder as he dropped cash. I think Pinder at 300K with a break even of 9, when the schedule allows for it, it just doesn't really now. But he does have a double in round 12. You could really get him in maybe this week and then ride the double next week, but it's hard. Like, that's the week. So round 12 is the week that basically everybody has the double. So I'm not riding too much stocks in that double. Man, Perth's schedule's just bad the more I look at it.
They've got single this week into a double, single. So, I mean, they've got a double around 16, 17, but they probably become relevant then. I'd say you're right. I'd say there's better options. And I mean, for me, I just went, you know what? Big Source or JLA are probably the 2 premium centers in the comp. I'll just get one of them and I'll rotate between them potentially. I'll just get Source and I'll just leave him there all season. He gets you 40 on a single. Like, just leave him there. How many other better options are there than him?
Well, that's an excellent segue, because a better thing than Source
didn't even mean
is
that.
Big Dick Willie Magnay. The Tasmania Jack Jumpers took care of the Breakers and Magnay, and we're talking about a guy that was a cheapie a few weeks ago. Went and dropped 38 on these guys. He was really good. Lee possibly injured. Look, Magnay just looks great, and he looks like a guy that I want in my team. I wonder if you've missed the boat now if you don't have him.
Yeah, maybe. I think so.
He's got a break even 34 going into it. Let me just double check if he's going into a double. He's got a break even of 34 going into a single at into 2 doubles in a row. Actually, yeah, you could probably still get Big Willie.
Yeah, 34. Actually, no, I thought it was a single. 34 into a double. So they've got a double. Yep. They play Perth and Sydney next week, and then Illawarra and Phoenix the week after. So, yeah, he's a great grab. 277 if you're looking for a downgrade from one of those guys. Even a Doolittle or someone like that. I think he's 290. The dual position's awesome with Magnay as well. You can shuffle him up and down. So I think he's a good grab.
Got the start. You know what's crazy? Again, in this game, he only played 18 minutes. That's 12 and 12 in 18 minutes. He's just a point per minute beast.
He's a Mo Wagner, isn't he, for the Magic, if you're an NBA fan? The guy just comes in and just jacks up shots for fun. And Boogie, no, it's the real brain on the screen. Someone, I don't know who it is in the chat, but someone just loves to comment as me every single week. And so there's some concerning comments in there. But we'll leave them for the next podcast. But the Tassie the Jack Jumper players should be a focus now. I mean, Crawford and Magnay, maybe even McVeigh are probably the 3 guys you probably want to look at with their double coming up this week.
I will never get McVeigh in my team ever again. The 2 weeks that I've owned him, he averaged 16, and every other week he's been fucking phenomenal. So I'm staying away from him. Look, obviously Doyle out of this one, out of his control a little bit. He's gone back to America, which I don't know if you guys know geography, is a fair while away from Australia. But he's gone back for the funeral for his father. And obviously they're not asking lots of questions or anything on the internet. I'm not, tagging him in the internet on Twitter to try and get an answer. But there's no real... He might not even play this week, is what I'm trying to get out.
Yeah, kind of hurts, doesn't it? But I mean, look, at the end of the day, things like this happen. It's a shame for him, and thoughts go out to his family and him. But he comes back when he comes back. I'm sure we'll find out at some point. I'm sure someone's going to put something out saying that he's on the next flight or whatever. So we'll know when we know. At the end of the day, you're probably better off planning without him, at least for one of these 2 doubles. And then if he ends up playing, you put him in at the last minute.
I'm thinking Jordan Crawford gets an even bigger bump with him out from what I saw from their one game. And I'm going to cover Jack Jumpers a little bit more in this one because it's their only game. 30 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Look, yeah, you just want him in your team. The form that he's in, he's at 343K, break even of 49. I think Jordan Crawford is getting close to must own. Only 5% of teams have him too.
Let me ask you this then. All right, so if you're in my position and you've got to get out Jalen Adams, are you going for Crawford or McCall? Because that's probably the decision I need to make. McCall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both doubles coming up. Cairns
triple double for Cairns.
An extra one afterwards, which is still phenomenal. That's actually crazy still. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doubles in a row. 7 doubles in 8 weeks. Oh no, 8 doubles in 9 weeks. Yeah, no, you've got to get Taj McCall still. But if you can get Crawford as well, that'd be a really good play.
I could get Crawford. I have to trade out Bryce Cotton. So anyway, we can talk about that a little bit later.
If you had to pick between, I've currently got Lamb and Parker Jackson Cartwright. If you had to pick one of them to keep after this game, it's Parker Jackson Cartwright because he come into it with a low break even and has an 18 break even again, especially when his 3-round average has been 59. And he's got a break even of 18, you've got to hold on to Parker Jackson Cartwright for another week.
Yeah, look, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's he's been quality. He scored 41 this week against Tassie as well, who have been notoriously pretty good all year. And he get 77 and 61 on his doubles the last couple of weeks. So you're not really going to get let down by PJC at all. So you can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, and he's been good. He's one of those rare situations where he's going to get points. He's going to be good on a double regardless. And he's going to get cash generation. Look, and Global saying, I think the time for cash generation is over. If you can get a guy that you can probably bank in for at least 30 and he's going to generate you some cash, that's the perfect scenario.
I might argue with Global that it's not. I don't know. How many rounds? It's halfway through the season. Still got heaps of time. You've got guys. Imagine if you pick up an AJ Johnson and he makes 50, 60K from here. Or maybe let's be more realistic. He makes an extra 40. And that's the difference between you getting up to maybe the last primo that you need versus being a little bit caught short in the mid-range. So I don't know. I feel we're in round 10. We've still got so much time left, and I think if you keep building your bank up for the next maybe 3-4 rounds, I think you can then target the better players you want for the final five rounds or so.
Yep. Let's head on to Adelaide versus Cairns, and Adelaide loses again. DJ3J was pretty good, even though he's $4,000 poorer. Trey Kell, 39 points. Humphreys, 30. Wiley, 29. Actually, a lot can be taken from this Adelaide team and their top couple players actually really performing on a Supercoach level, or at least a stat level.
Yeah, can't really argue
Shit
with that.
teams can still score really well. And I know that I'm saying that I didn't want to touch any Adelaide players, but there's a new coach in town, and he seems to be playing the Adelaide starters a lot of minutes. And look, 36 minutes from Trey Kell, 31 minutes from Wiley, 37 minutes from DJ3J. I know Mitch McCarron's the captain, but 10 minutes, I don't know what's going on there. He was a guy that could do a bit of rebounding, do a bit of everything, but fuck me. Like, I'd be so disappointed.
He was in the conversation early on. I remember the Supercoach Hawk back in the day was pumping up McCarron's tyres a little bit, saying he might be an option leading into with Adelaide's doubles. But yeah, you look at the Supercoach scoring here, you've got 4 blokes over 29, and then the next closest score was 7. So it's very clear that leaning into these 4 guys, Wiley, Humphrey, Kell, Vasiljevic, like it's a no-brainer that those are the only 4 options potentially. What's their schedule look like? Is there any relevance there, or are we not? Is there nothing happening? They've got a couple of seasons coming up.
Adelaide's schedule was really good earlier on in the season, but you couldn't trust them. If at round 13, if you have a look, they go 2-1, 2-2, and that's probably where you could target some Adelaide players. Because everybody else's schedule's pretty boring through that period, apart from Sydney.
Yeah, that's fair.
So nobody plays more games than Adelaide from rounds 13 to 16. So, yeah, you could probably look at a Trey Kell, ride the hot hand, DJ3J. But DJ3J is now pushing 300K, like, pretty hard.
Yeah, do you want to pay 300K for a guy from Adelaide? Like, I've watched the pod a lot, and you guys have shat on Adelaide more than you've shat on any other team in the NBL. But I mean, to be fair, you just mentioned the. Oh, come on, mate! Don't you start. They're like when you change coaches, you just don't know what's going to happen. And I think maybe Tatum is maybe he's the Benji Marshall of the coaching world. You just never know.
Tatum's the coach. Tatum's the coach of the Hawks, man.
Oh, for fuck's sake! All right, I was close. Who's the coach? Who am I missing?
The guy from Adelaide. Anyway,
whoever the fuck that is, I don't care.
The Cairns type ends. Taj McCall over the week raises the bat for the first time. This is the first.
Is that the first 100?
100, yeah. How good? 15 assists got him there.
You know what I hate so much is that I don't own him. I don't know whether I've mentioned that yet this episode or not, but I don't own him, and it hurts me. Hurts myself.
But Paddy Miller went and got 36, and Wardenberger's back with 30. Clintman was really good. This is sort of why I was saying to hold Clintman, even though he dropped a heap of cash. I think he'll make that back over this next little run. I'm really glad I didn't trade him out. Josh Roberts, disappointing again. And as we said, Taran Armstrong, pretty ordinary with his minutes even. He was getting some minutes, but it just seems to be dwindling. Like in the first game, he had 17 minutes, and then he gets 10 in this one. Mate, like Taran Armstrong being the second coming of Josh Giddey, it's not going to happen.
No, it doesn't look like it. Minutes aren't favouring him, are they? And was there a game that he started recently? Maybe, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago he was starting. He was starting beside Miller. And then they brought Jonah Antonio into the starting lineup there for a little bit. And they've actually brought Roberts back in now, and they've sort of playing Taj McCall at guard where he was playing a power forward there. So, yeah, they've just been reshuffling. They were going pretty bad when Taran Armstrong was starting, and now they're going well with him off the bench. Yeah, look, Taran, the
maybe time to move him on.
Over. And you're right, if you've got to trade up your sleeve, maybe AJ Johnson is the answer.
Yeah, don't mind that. It frees up. What's Taran Armstrong's price now? 150 on the dot. Yeah, so you can make 70K there with that trade.
Look, let's go into Melbourne and Brisbane. And speaking of games that I turned off, Melbourne 103, Brisbane Bullets 68. Mate, Bannon is everything to these boys.
Yeah, I don't know whether I saw a little tear roll down your eye there when you mentioned 68. Not the best score ever. They got annihilated here, didn't they? Wasn't a good one.
At least I could have laughed if they got 69.
Could have played the soundbite, the giggity. but no luck.
Look, DJ Mitchell actually played pretty well. Did play really well. DJ Mitchell's a really good player. Just finds himself sort of stuck behind Bannon and probably just being a better fit. Bannon is with their starting lineup. Chris Smith's been pretty good in the last couple of weeks, but he scores as many points as he does Supercoach points. Doesn't get any peripherals there. Sam McDaniels is making a bit of a resurgence of late. Sobey was ordinary in his 250th game. Melbourne United aren't relevant in any way, shape, or form. But they do have a double this week. I actually half looked at getting Delhi back in this week. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull the trigger. But look, I needed somebody that was 300K in one iteration of my trade so far. And Delhi's been good. Sorry, cut out.
Sorry, I'm back. I think I'm good.
Delhi's been really good. So Delhi's averaged 30 in the last 5 rounds. Just been super consistent. And I suppose the boys in the chat are still mentioning Luke Travis. He's got a 3-round average of 37. Heading into a double, it could be a pod play.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I reckon that's nice. I mean, everybody jumped on Travers at the start of the season, didn't they? And then people have jumped off when their doubles ended. 323K though, I think we jumped off at like 260. He didn't actually really make that much money by the time their doubles ended. So you probably have to pay a little bit more for him. 53 break even as well. But I mean, if you're chasing points, which you probably are at this point of the season, there's much worse options than Travers, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And look, Joe Luala-Chua wasn't the best in this one. He's only 3% owned there. Chris Goulding has been dropping. He went up in cash. He went up to 335, and with a break even of 64 this upcoming week, might drop cash again. But yeah, that's even in a game where they absolutely pump the bullets. So.
Yeah, it's hard to take too much from a game when you win by, 35 points? Like, you just don't know what they're doing with. It's probably not their rotation. Players are getting blowout minutes, etc. So, yeah, it's hard to get a true indication of what's going on.
Mate, hearing all these great questions coming in, we will have time for question time shortly. But Jonah Bolden, even though the Kings lost, Jonah Bolden had 37. And you mentioned he had 6 in the last game. That's what I was saying about him just being a little bit of a flamethrower.
Yeah, it seems like it's hot and cold between him and Hunter. They're just sharing different roles based on who's hot. And can you even go either of them, not knowing what you're going to get game to game? Because they're just going to swap roles like every second game, aren't they?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's a rhetorical question, but I'm going to answer it no. But
good.
Jonah Bolden played 20 minutes and had 15 and 15. Man, if I lived in a world where he got 28 minutes a game, he would be an absolute lock.
Yeah, well, everybody was hoping for that at the start of the season, weren't they? He was very popular at the start of the season, and then people jumped off when they saw his role. But yeah, I mean, I took a punt on him as a bit of a pod. I couldn't afford Hogue, who was my preference, obviously, which you'd rather him if you could afford him, of course. But yeah, I took a punt on Bolden. So, I mean, it could have been much worse with that second game blowout, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, and Adams was good in this one again, better than Hogue, who had 7 and 7 in his 29 minutes. Of course, the 19 and not many peripheral stats from Adams was all right. The 5 turnovers really hurt him, though, this game.
Yeah, I mean, I look at scores and I jump in the box score and I'm like, shit, he must be going okay. And then I scroll all the way to the right and I look at the turnovers. I'm like, fuck, 7 turnovers, that'll do it. Paddy Miller every single week finds his way into 5 or 6 turnovers, and the bloke could probably be averaging the most Supercoach points in the comp at the moment. But yeah, turnovers are hurting him. So killer.
Look, I know a flying toilet's not on, but let's have a look at the Phoenix. And Matt Kenyon played 33 minutes. There's some opportunity there. Garrick Brown played 31 minutes. Ben Ayre starting actually played the most minutes out of anybody out there. 5 turnovers, but 13 and 4 there. He's a cheapie. That's somebody that you could look at. But what everybody's here for is for us to hear about Big Sauce. 21 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. The man's a beast.
Yeah, 46 Supercoach points. Okay, my question for you here is, do you just disregard doubles now completely and you just roll with Big Sauce at centre and you just leave him there for the rest of the season?
So a lot of people are thinking that, but no. And maybe it's just me chasing upside, but I do think that I can get on a guy for 200, even 300K instead of paying 450 for Williams that's going to play twice. And I'm going to take a punt. I think on a double, I would rather take a punt on a Jonah Bolden than pay up 450K for Big Sauce. And I am probably Big Sauce. I actually really have been enjoying Big Sauce's podcast. Shout out to the big dog. And barbecue sauce is the best sauce, apart from Alan
Agreed.
Williams, because I think that I will take a punt on, and maybe it's just the gambling man in me. I'd rather play Jonah Bolden, even though he's the inferior player at the moment, than play Big Sauce.
Yeah, but you've got to think as well, like, Jonah Bolden gets you even 15 or 20 points shy of Alan Williams, but you're paying half the price. So what can you do with the extra cash in the other positions is what you've got to consider. 282K for Bolden versus 453K for Big Sauce. Like that, you can do a lot with, what's the math, 150K.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm probably the one person in the world that had Denzel Valentine. It was a little bit of a pod play, and he ended up with 40 odd during the week. He's got a break even of 28. I've ran the experiment, and I'm going to be trying to get Denzel Valentine out this week.
Should I, so getting him in, should I mimic Hammer in saying that you're entitled to your wrong opinion? Because I know that he'd be thinking the same thing. He's not a Denzel Valentine fan, and I've heard this very clear from the start after he burnt him. What made you go back? Was it just role-based?
Yeah, it was role-based. He's guard forward eligible. I was looking for a guy that could slot in there. I was looking for a guy that had upside, and nobody had him in the top couple of percent. He still hasn't burnt me. Like, he still rolled out with a 40-odd this week, and I started him, and I was in the top 2% this week. It just wasn't the right play, and now that Sydney's schedule goes away from it, it's just time to move on from Valentine. I've got no reason to hold him. I had a dig. He actually didn't burn me. He just plateaued me out. Yeah.
And look, what did he score more than Adams this week, or pretty close to it?
Yeah.
With Adams' second game. So, I mean, you're paying much less. You're saving 80K by going Valentine instead of Adams, so you can't complain too much.
Yep. Mate, we're finished that. Should we get and have a little bit of a chat about our community team? Because I am pretty keen to have a chat about this. Can you explain what our community team is, mate?
Yeah, so community team in the Discord every single week. If you're not in the Discord, first of all, it should be in the description below in the link. So just click on the link there and it'll take you into the welcome there. But in the Discord every week, we basically created a team in the preseason where everyone got a vote. Everyone got an opportunity to talk about the players they wanted in. And basically we come up with a team and we talk about the trades every week and we vote on the trades, the captains, the vice captains, etc. So it's actually doing pretty well. What are we coming, Matty?
Mate, we are now 133rd. So
that's wild.
Many hands make light work. We had the 94th highest score this week with 466. And there's discussion around the trades every week. So we've got a pretty strong team. Look, we had Taj McCall, Paddy Miller, Jalen Adams, DJ Hogue, Wardenberg, Magnay, and generally as somebody says what they want the trades to be, and whatever gets the most likes is what we do. And the consensus seems to be usually the right answer, apart from the fact that we got Josh Roberts in this week. But we did play him off the bench. We've still got a boost left, 170K in the bank. Honestly, like, the community team is a better chance of winning the comp than I am.
We've actually done really well. And the beauty of it is if we end up just by some chance winning a week, or we make a bit of cash, or we make top 10 or something happens that's pretty wild, we'll donate that money to charity as well. So, so some pretty cool stuff happening in the Discord. So if you're not in there, jump in, have a vote on the team and have your say so that we can try and get up the rankings.
And I don't want it to sound like a shameless plug, but while we're talking about the Discord, there's FPL chat, there's NBA chat, there's BBL chat, there's NRL chat, there's AFL chat. Just talk with like-minded people about the things you guys love. So,
yeah, 100%. It's been a good time. I'll tell you what, my fingers are sore from the BBL chat over the weekend. People talking about their teams and stuff. I couldn't help but get involved. But it's good because people are talking about their last-minute moves, and they do that in NBL too. Like you half an hour before the game, and people are tossing up between two options, and you get a bit of feedback from the community on what they think is best. So, yeah, it's definitely a good idea to jump in and have a chat with people, and it makes the decisions that you're making in Supercoach much easier week to week.
No, sounds good. There's lots of great questions coming in the chat, and I think we're going to spend a bit of time answering them. But let's have a look at some early trade thoughts.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade.
Mate, in case you haven't noticed with my Denzel Valentine pick, sometimes I like to zig when some people are zagging, and so many people are looking at adding Alan Williams this week. Everybody's looking at him. He played 20 minutes in the last game. 15 and 15. He was great. You want to know who was also great? Mitch Creek. Scored 44 Supercoach points, 33 real points. I think I'm going to go Lamb to Mitch Creek and then Denzel Valentine to Jordan Crawford. That's my early thought. And I would love to maybe be able to get Sauce in. But if I'm getting Crawford, unless I'm going all the way down to like an AJ Johnson or somebody that interests me in that way, and with the way that my team makeup is at the moment, I've still got Parker Jackson Cartwright sitting there on the bench. I think the best thing for my team is to go Creek and Crawford. What are you thinking, mate?
I am thinking Jalen Adams. I got him on a 1 week rental last week, trying to get him in, obviously attacking the Sydney Kings double. So Adams will probably go out. But I need to get Taj McCall. I was a little bit cautious initially about getting Taj McCall because I had too many Cairns players, but I think I just need to really stop worrying about how many players I have from Cairns and just kind of just get the bloke in. He's been quality. So I'll go Adams to McCall, but then I need to free up about 50K to do that. So I'll probably do Taron Armstrong to AJ Johnson to fund that trade. I can't really find another trade that I really like. I mean, I've got Sauce at centre, Bolden as my backup, but then I've got Magnay and Wardenberg in forward and Doolittle and Clintman on the bench. So, I mean, then none of them are really stinking it up enough for me to stress too much. So, and I wouldn't mind holding Doolittle and Cotton on the bench for their double next week. So that's probably how I'm thinking. I'm probably thinking Adams to McCall and Armstrong down to AJ Johnson.
If I can say anything, I think I would probably make sure that you use your duels and start Willie Magnay next week.
Yeah, he's definitely starting him off forward.
Yeah. Well, start him at centre.
Over Sauce on a double.
Oh, you've got Sauce. Sorry, I forget that you've got Sauce. Yeah, perfect.
He's my captain this week. Sorry, I'll ruin the next segment, but he's just a lock and load for captain next week.
No, I'm not. I won't even talk about my captains. I'm going to be here on Wednesday, but I'll probably just double. I think a lot of people are going to captain Taj McCall, and with the way that Taj McCall scores really well, and we saw it at the start of the year, he went pretty ordinary at times at the start of the year when he was coming back. And I wonder if he has a low score in him, but right now I don't think Paddy Miller has a low score in him. I am going to go safety first because I'm a bit of a punter in some of the other categories. Like what Boogie said, people are going to stay away from Creek because his worst score was against the United team. Southeast Melbourne have been that good at the moment. Maybe he's back and he can score really well against them. Zig when people zag, I think, but there's still a safety net with Mitch Creek. He's not going to score that low.
And I think if you're, outside the top 1,000 or something like that, you can take a bit of a riskier punt, or you want to make a little bit of ground up. If you're in the top 200 or top 100 or something like that, it's probably better to go with the crowd and find a safer move and try and find your move elsewhere. So yeah, I don't mind it.
Mate, would you mind starting to rack up these questions for me?
Girl, I got a question for you. Can I get an answer?
I can do that, of course. Corey Blackledge is asking, thoughts on Sobey to Big Sauce and Adams to Crawford? Makes sense to me.
Absolutely love it. I can't think of two things I would rather do more. Brisbane's schedule's actually awful, so that's great. And Adams, as I will question this, and I'm currently bringing in Crawford, and Global's mentioned, is Doyle back? If Doyle's back, I might stay away from Crawford. But yeah, otherwise that's probably the only thing. I just don't think that the upside for him scoring 40 points a game, he could ton up this weekend.
Yeah, okay. Heard it here first. Your doppelganger on YouTube is saying AJ Johnson season. Sounds like that's the consensus. So I'm on board with that. I'm all for it. And he also thinks Willie Magnay is captain.
That is big sauce. I just think it's hard. Like, he scored 38, but he still only played 18 minutes. I can't captain somebody that's only playing 18 minutes a game.
Yeah, the minutes are a concern, I think, with the role that he's got. So, no, I agree with that. My doppelganger has said Berger is back. Wants to know Air or Crawford.
Look, I'm going to delve into Air a little bit more because he's 110K with a break even of 8 and is now starting in one of the best teams. Him playing 35 minutes on the weekend, which I genuinely didn't notice. I went to the Christmas carols with my young fella during that one, but I think it's Ben Air season again. Look, I think he's going to be not as good as Crawford, but I think what you do with the second trade is the question. Like, if whatever you're doing to trade to Crawford generates 200K, that'll get you a Sauce, that'll get you a Mitch Creek, that'll make sure that you have Taj McCall or Paddy Miller if you don't have them in one trade without having a boost for it. It depends what you're doing with the second trade, but maybe a Taran to Ben Air is safer than an AJ Johnson to Ben Air is probably
Definitely,
especially with a double.
Yeah. No, I'm all for that. If that could create me the cash to get McCall, I would, but it can't. So I'm probably just going to have to take a punt on Johnson. Theo Manos asking Williams and Quoll or Golding and Creek, ranked 404. I'm sure the K is not supposed to be there. Ranked 404th. Love the content. Keep it up. So what do you think?
I like.
This is a tricky one.
I like. Yeah, the issue is you're going to have to trade out Goulding and Creek the following week. So I think Williams and Quoll for this question, but I wonder if there's a bit of a hybrid or something that you can do. I do wonder if a Creek and, like, you could probably get Creek and Quoll, or something like that. I really don't know. I would go Williams and Quoll for that one, only because you don't have to trade out Quoll the following week. Quoll's minutes have been great.
Yeah. No, I was going to say Quoll he's got the triple-double coming up. At least you've got the security there of getting 6 cracks over the next 3 rounds at a score for him.
Yeah.
And Goulding is just points, isn't he?
And he's going to drop in cash maybe this week. I wonder if there's an option where you could go Creek and somebody else instead of Goulding that could be better than Williams and Quoll.
Worth a shout. Hit us up in the comments, Theo, if you've got a better option there. Global is asking, do we get rid of our New Zealand players when they have a double game next week?
Everybody has a double game next week. So the only teams that don't have a double game next week are Adelaide. We're not looking at them anyway. And Melbourne, which for some reason we're looking at them again now because it's the last opportunity maybe to look at them for the year. But everybody has a double game week next week. Chances are the people you're trading, Lamb and Parker Jackson Cartwright to, maybe Mango to, have a double next week anyway. So it's irrelevant.
Yeah, fair enough. This next question is controversial, but you've started for a reason, so we're going to roll with it. Who had the worst incident, Matt Lodge or Talatau Amone?
I think Amone.
Oh, you reckon?
It's a hammer, man.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you know what Matt Lodge did too, right? Like
Yeah.
broke into a house and someone's front door and beat someone up. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're both shit house. Shit blokes 11 they're in.
I would rather someone come into my house with their fists than come at me with a hammer.
Yeah.
Even Matt Lodge's fists.
They're hammers, basically. So probably even. We'll give it 50-50 on that one. Josh is asking, do you consider Josh Childress a king or a 36er?
Honestly, a king. That's where he come in. That hair just comes across. I also consider him a Phoenix Sun. So, yeah, I might get a Josh Childress Suns jersey later on in the year. I might rock that.
Good luck finding one. Global's asking Lamb out, or he's telling you Lamb's out for Crawford. Do you agree?
Yeah, look, I don't hate it. I am going to be using that Lamb money I would either use it for a Sauce or a Creek myself. But yeah, look, that's only due to Jules. Yeah, Lamb to Crawford, perfectly fine. He could turn up this week. That's you heard it here first.
Oh, big call. Love that. So Hayden wants to know, does he trade in Creek and Clintman or Sauce and Ben Air?
Sauce and Air, because I see it as a way. I think Sauce will probably outscore Creek. There's always the chance Creek does it, and there's always a chance anything could happen. But Air's going to generate you some cash as well. Clintman's going to get you some good points, but I'm not sure the cash generation's going to stay there. I think that he's going to go between 200 and 240K, whereas Air, with Cummings out permanently, like we're not talking about an injury, like Air's starting with Cummings out permanently, played 35 minutes, finding his feet, 110K. Air could be 200K and make you 100K, and you could just sit him on your bench.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Is he dual position? Guard forward?
No, Air's just guard.
No, Spion. Oh, I'm thinking Henshaw.
He's about
disregard.
He's about as small as you, man.
I can play forward.
His hairline's about as bad as yours too.
No. It's there. I just cover it up. I can make sure my hair's
his is worse. My bad.
Thank you. Adrian wants to know Sauce or Crawford. Two pretty popular guys this week.
As much as I think Crawford could ton up, I'm going Sauce.
Fair call. Moving into the NBA again. Who's your favourite mid-2010s NBA role player? Josh wants to know. Norris Cole has to be up there. Who do you reckon?
No, Jared Bayless, 100%. Like, I'm just coming out there. I just can't. Oh, look, when the Grizzlies were struggling and Jared Bayless was just an absolute pocket rocket. I remember him coming in. The Grizzlies were rolling in at like 8th, and Jared Bayless, he was a firecracker. You're only talking about Norris Cole because Miami were on TV a bit more. His deep cuts with NBA need to get better, I think.
You heard it here first. Bit of a
Old King
slapback.
Cole.
Is Doyle back? Global, we don't know yet. We'll keep you informed. Jump in the Discord. I'm sure someone's going to pop it in the Discord as soon as they hear any news. Usually, some people are a bit quicker on news than we are, and they pop it in there for us. So jump in the community there. Callum wants to know, or he's trading Doolittle and DJ this week to get in Creek and either Saar or Jalen Galloway, which would be better on the bench in his forward position.
Neither. I think surely there's somebody.
Option?
Yeah, surely I think that there's somebody better than Saar and Galloway. I might even duck away and have a bit of a look at it. I think Saar's schedule's pretty ordinary, and I think Sydney's schedule doesn't. Look, I'm going to go Jalen Galloway due to the schedule, if I had to pick. But I reckon that there's probably some better players for 200K that you could target in that forward spot, and I'll have a bit of a think for you, man. Maybe slide us a DM on Discord, and I'll have a look at it.
Nice. And Corey Blackledge has one more. Could I get Air for Roberts as a boost? So it just depends, I guess, how many boosts you have left, Corey. Let us know in the chat if you have it.
If you have 2 boosts left, I don't hate it because you got Roberts for cash generation. And I think the cash generation is, I want to say up. Maybe we just got it wrong. I think that they will ride Roberts if the other guys are doing poorly and Roberts is an absolute gun. But they didn't start him at the start of the year for a reason, and I know I got him in, so I'm going to look like an absolute hypocrite. But I just saw their team playing so much better when Roberts was out there that I thought that he would have that role there. I thought that he would at least get 18, 20 minutes a night, and he was cheap as chips. I don't like boosting for it, but I like trading for it, if that's my answer. If you have two or three boosts left, do it.
Yeah, I've got one boost. I reckon if you got two boosts, you can probably have a crack because most people would have one left. So
yeah,
probably got a free swing there. Josh is on my team. He reckons it's Lodge as well, so that's 2v1. Thank you. So Global, Lamb and Lat for Sauce and Crawford. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that you've got to... I don't mind getting rid of Latmayan now. I really like getting rid of Lamb now. I think any cash generation is drawn up. Yeah, Sauce and Crawford, that's honestly the best trades that you could do this week, in my opinion.
Good shout. Theo, Air or Qual? So he's holding Jalen Adams on the bench. So this, I'm assuming, is his option to start.
Air. No brainer. Air could outscore Qual, and he's 100k cheaper. Yeah.
You've put the wrong bloke on the thumbnail for this episode. I reckon it should have been Ben Air on the front.
Yeah, I don't know. McCall Me Maybe was kind of catchy though, and he did just ton up. I just think everybody owns him, so I brought you on so that you could wallow in your misery.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate that. Maybe Ben Air makes it onto the preview show for next week. Global, McVeigh has been handy with his DPP. Who to start out of Magnay and McVeigh though? It's got to be Magnay, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be Magnay. The upside's there. Look, honestly, I am the wrong person to talk to about Jack McVeigh. When I owned him, he's averaged 17 and he's averaged about 30 for the season. So, yeah, McVeigh, the lanky bastard, can get out of my DMs. I'm so off him. But Magnay, look, Pelicans legend, Willie Magnay, Bill Magnay to his friends. Yeah, start him.
Love it. Corey has two boosts left. So you reckon pull the trigger on that?
Yeah, I don't mind it because I think the cash generation's going to be there. And getting out of the... you just made 30k out of Josh Roberts. I think you're going to lose that if you hold it. If you factor in the fact that you're going to make money out of Ben Air and lose money out of Josh Roberts, we could be talking about honestly, over a few weeks, I think it's going to be a bit more of a slow burn with Ben Air, but we could be talking 140k swing. That's worth a boost to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you've got to think about what you value as how much a boost is worth, I guess. You're going to be boosting potentially. You're boosting potentially when no one else is as well, which gives you a bit of an advantage in the coming week too. So I don't hate it. Mate, I think we've run out of questions.
Mate, that's an hour.
Pretty much.
Gee, it's good doing podcasts with you again.
I know, isn't that cute? You don't usually compliment me or say that you enjoy my company too much, but I like that. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to make sure that I go and clip this as well and just make it as my phone screen cover or something.
Mate, I instantly regretted it. Fuck you.
I'm going to keep it forever. No, it's been good. It's been fun. We've had a bit of a break from podcasting together, which we probably needed because we did, 90 odd episodes back to back with the NRL. So you're probably happy to have about 3 or 4 months off from me. But we'll be back in a couple of months for the NRL.
It's good. I'm excited to do the Vegas NRL show. I can't wait to go to Vegas with you, man.
Yeah, that's going to be great. You're paying, right, for the tickets and the accommodation?
Yeah.
Is that right?
On the Insight Fantasy Sports card.
Yeah. You know the worst part.
Thanks.
I've got the card, you don't, so I guess I'm paying.
Thanks, Ash from Standard Squeeze.
100%. What a man. Funding our tickets to Vegas. What a good bloke.
All right. A few guys are asking about the NRL and the BBL in the chat.
Yeah, NRL does sound interesting. Josh knows a bit about NRL as well, so we'll be looking to having a chat with him about some NRL at some point in time. We may even have some pretty cool news, some exciting news coming in the coming weeks about the NRL and about who's lining up for Insight Fantasy Sports for the NRL. So stay tuned for that. That should be fun. Are we doing a BBL live stream? Global wants to know. Yeah, we do a live stream every single week. So for BBL, we're going to do a live stream when is it? When's it going to be? The end of the round. So we're going to do Thursday because there's the test match break for BBL. Sorry, NBL fans. The test match break where you got 5 days of cricket in a row for you NBL fans who don't know cricket. We're going to do a bit of a wrap-up show on the Thursday night. So me and the Big Horse will hop on and talk about the chaos that the round has been, and then we'll hop on Tuesday and Monday night and preview the week. We'll hop on before you boys hop on for NBL. So we'll have a back-to-back show Monday night again. That'll be fun.
Look, I'm just going to wrap it up and say that Majib is the TPJ of BBL, and you have listened to an Insight Fantasy Sports podcast. Cheerio.